How childhood trauma affects our autonomic nervous system in adulthood. Childhood trauma has profound psychological, physiological, and sociological impacts and can have negative lasting effects on health and well-being. Referred to in the academic literature as adverse childhood experiences, childhood trauma ranges from sexual abuse to neglect to living in a household where a parent or a sibling is treated violently or there's a parent with a mental illness. Since we are highly dependent and vulnerable as a child, it doesn't take much to cause trauma. In many cases, the cause for the childhood trauma is missing empathy of the parents. As a parent, being not able to feel what their child needs can lead to mortal agony of the child. Whenever a child is going to feel death threat, it's traumatizing for the child. As a consequence, the child's death threat. Whenever a child is going to feel a death threat, it's traumatizing for the child. As a consequence, the child's psyche is splitted in different parts. From now on, the child is not experiencing itself as just one, but as different parts. Due to the fragmentation, the human psyche is able to stabilize the human being and keep it alive. Since childhood trauma has a strong impact on our autonomic nervous system and thus interrupting the harmonious interaction between parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, it can have negative effects on different organs that are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. But of course, childhood trauma strongly affects the psyche first. Without further ado, let's jump straight into 6 common effects childhood trauma can cause after bringing the autonomic nervous system out of balance. 1. Childhood trauma often leads to a disbalance of the autonomic nervous system, creating either a physiological state of fight or flight or freeze. Being mainly in the fight or flight mode is due to an overactive sympathetic nerve function. People in that state tend to either fight or run away when a situation seems to be frightening. However, being in the freeze mode, a special nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system, the dorsal vagus nerve, is overactive. People in that state are not able to do anything. They are completely frozen and become unable to act. Speaking of the fight or flight and freeze state, both states are not allowing you to create a happy, fulfilling life of abundance. Although you might be able to achieve a lot of materialistic goals when being mainly in the sympathetic activity compared to being in the parasympathetic dorsal vagal activity, you cannot achieve stable, healthy and loving relationships. And due to the fact that healthy interpersonal relationships are such important for us humans, many rich people are still suffering. So what does it require to be able to create healthy relationships? To be able to deeply connect with another human being and to be empathetic, it requires the activity of the ventral vagal part of the parasympathetic nervous system. This part of the autonomic nervous system is only active when we feel safe enough and there is no death threat. But the problem for people who have experienced childhood trauma is that they tend to either be highly sympathetic, meaning in the fight or flight mode, or highly parasympathetic, meaning in the freeze mode, not allowing them to run their social engagement system properly, leading to dysfunctional relationships and suffering. 2. Mental illnesses. Still speaking of the dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system, it's a root cause for mental illnesses. By being mainly in the dorsal vagus nerve activity of the parasympathetic nervous system, you are more likely to show symptoms of depression, such as being not able to feel any emotions, experiencing low energy, no motivation, and not being able to interact with other people. By being mainly in the sympathetic nerve activity, you are more likely to experience anxiety, paranoia symptoms, and suffer from burnout because you tend to disrespect your own boundaries in that state. 3. Physical illnesses. Still speaking of the dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system, it's also the root cause for physical diseases, such as high blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes, obesity, chronic pain, and many other symptoms. 4. Faster aging. Since it's unhealthy to be chronically in the physiological state of a complete shutdown or fight and flight, our bodies are not able to regenerate well, leading to faster aging. 5. Sleeping problems. Since sleeping is only possible when being in a physiological state of safety, meaning ventral vagus activity, traumatized people are often having sleep disorders that even add up to their suffering. 6. Addictions. Since childhood trauma leaves us with a wound that's very difficult to heal for us, we all develop different kind of addictions that distract us from the pain of our childhood. To not feel the pain and also to reduce the stress that's associated with feeling the old pain, people become addicted to unhealthy foods, overeating, smoking, alcohol, cocaine, and other drugs. All these kind of addictions help us to survive, though in a very unhealthy way. Here we have it, guys. 6 common effects childhood trauma has on our autonomic nervous system. What symptoms are you struggling with? Let me know in the comments down below. I know by myself that childhood trauma creates huge loads of shame, making it hard to show yourself how you really are. But this was only not possible during your childhood. Now it's possible. I will make another video on how childhood trauma affects us emotionally. Are you interested in that? Please like and subscribe to this channel if it was helpful and interesting for you. Thanks for watching.